Welcome to Not So New News. Come along with us as we continue to discover an Appalachian time gone by. Today's article comes from the town of Whitesburg and appeared in the Letcher County's oldest newspaper, the Mountain Eagle. Volume 2, Number 46, Industrial Edition, Section 3, dated July 22, 1909. Page 12 is named The Short Sketches of Prominent Citizens of Letcher County whose pictures we were unable to get, and continued in today's reading. Sheriff C.C. Crawford. Mr. Crawford was born in the year 1855 in Breathitt County, Kentucky, and belongs to a well-known family of that name living in various sections of the state. He was educated in the public and private schools of his native county and came to Letcher in the year 1890 or 1891 and immediately took up schoolwork at Whitesburg and taught for a number of months at this place. He then changed his place of work to Colson, where he labored ardently for a number of years. He often engaged in manual labor and did not fear to roll up his sleeves and walk into it. In 1905, when the independent citizens were looking around for a suitable man to run for sheriff, Mr. Crawford was chosen as that man, and the following November election, after a difficult struggle, he was duly elected. He has made an honest and efficient officer. Mr. Crawford married Mary, the youngest daughter of Uncle Madison Collins of Colson, and they have a number of interesting and intelligent children. Being born a Democrat of the Jeffersonian type, Mr. Crawford has never forsaken the faith of his fathers. John M. Cook. About 21 years ago, upon the head of Rock House in this country, the subject of this sketch first saw the light. He is the oldest and only son of Dr. T. A. Cook, one of the leading physicians of the county, and his mother is the daughter of the late Elder Samuel C. Cottle of Sand once one of the most popular and loved ministers of the Old Regular Baptist Church. Mr. Cook early this summer graduated with high honors from the law department of the University of Louisville and has just entered upon the practice of his profession at this place and has a bright and prospective future before him. He is a shining example of an intelligent young mountain manhood. James S. Pendleton. From early youth to fully matured manhood, no harder worker in school or other educational work has ever been known in Letcher County than James S. Pendleton, present county school superintendent. Reared amid vicissitudes and surrounded by obstacles that would dash the courage from an ordinary mortal, James S. Pendleton, by hard efforts, soon forged to the head of the column. He was born on Collie Creek and attended public and private schools until early manhood, when he began teaching, and from the first was regarded as one of our best and most energetic teachers. Elected county superintendent schools in 1905, he has made a faithful officer. He is married and has a family of 4 bright and entertaining children. Dr. John Collins. Among the intellectual lights that beamed across Letcher County's horizon 20 years ago, none radiated with greater splendor than that of Dr. John Collins. Dr. Collins first saw the light in 1865 near what is now known as Colson. From early youth, he was one of the brightest of boys, and as maturity came, he ripened into one of the brightest of men. For a while he engaged in teaching, but soon turned his attention into medicine. Graduating at the Kentucky University Medical Department, he soon rose to the head of his profession. Elected to the Kentucky legislature in 1897, he made a worthy member of that body. He is home now at Ben-Hur, Arkansas, though he still practices his profession in our country. W. G. Cottle Sr. Among the somewhat aged and prominent citizens of Letcher may be mentioned Watson G. Cottle of this place. Mr. Cottle is old enough to remember the dark and bloody days of the late rebellion and saw most of his brothers march forth under the banner of the Southern Confederacy for a cause they believed to be right. To be right, for it is believed that no Cottle would ever do a thing that he believed was wrong. Watson Cottle first held office of sheriff of Letcher County and made a good record. He was afterward elected county court clerk and held that office 1 or 2 terms. 6 years ago, he was nominated and elected by the Democrats to the Kentucky legislature and made a good and faithful member. David C. Mullins. When dark and angry clouds began to bespangle the sky and the war alarms could almost be heard in 1860, David C. Mullins was born. From early youth, he developed into a mechanical genius, and as the years grew on him, he became so, quote, he could do anything, unquote, as the saying goes. At this time, he stands at the head of his profession, of that master mechanic in the mountains. He married the daughter of John J. Lewis, the Letcher County financier, and they have an interesting family, some of whom are now grown and married. Of all Letcher County's substantial citizens, Dave Mullins is equal to any and occupies the confidence and the esteem of his neighbors and acquaintances. W. K. Kilbourne. W. K. Kilbourne was born and reared in Wise County, Virginia, and comes from one of that county's best-known families. He first began business in this county in 1891 as the agent of the old and well-known firm of Altimus and McGeorge, and represented them for 8 years. At about the end of this time, he formed the partnership with George Hogg of Roxana, under the firm name of Hogg and Kilbourne. After some time, Hogg interest passed into a new firm of McLean, Kilbourne and Company, the members of the firm being the subject of this sketch. J. Blair McLean and Floyd Day, the latter two now of Jackson, Breathitt County. The firm of McLean, Kilbourne and Company has been, and is yet, a well-known firm, and Mr. Kilbourne is yet a business manager. A few years ago, this firm became involved in one of the biggest timber deals ever undertaken in the mountains, and the suit that originated over this deal is now pending in U.S. court, has become famous world over. Mr. Kilbourne is one of our best businessmen and owns interest all over this country and in other sections. He is still unmarried and is a citizen of Whitesburg. He is very much interested in the moral, educational, and business development of the mountains. This concludes today's reading of Part 1 of page 12 of the July 22nd, 1909 Mountain Eagle. We at Kentucky, Tennessee Living would like to thank you for your continued support as we bring to you the history of the Appalachian Mountains.